It's the week after Christmas, and you thought we may not bring you content. Well, of course we did. It's what we do here at Crane & Company. So if you haven't done this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow us on social media platforms everywhere. Facebook, InstaChat, Tick, Snap, and all type of stuff.
Faceback.
Faceback, of course, the new app that's taken over the world by storm. But we wanted to give our bowl previews for today. That's right. We still have college football. We're just hanging on every day. It's kind of like Jack from the Titanic. I'm just waiting out here to freeze to death. Why don't you scoot over and let me get on the door? But that's a story for another day, Cone. What games are on the menu for today? Because I'm starving, dog.
Military Bowl.
Yes.
Central Florida and Duke.
Interesting matchup here. Mike Elko, ACC Coach of the Year, with what he's been able to do at Duke in year one. They were part of the story of kind of the underdogs, or some of the schools that have gone through the lower class when it comes to winning, moving up to the middle class. Kansas, Duke, UConn, schools like that. John Reese Plumlee's beat up at the end of the year. We saw what happened against Tulane. They're playing musical quarterbacks. Pratt and that Tulane offense was just way too much for him. I do like Duke in this bowl, though. I think Mike Elko will be able to stop the run. UCF has not shown the ability to throw the ball effectively, even when Plumlee is healthy. He's a true run-to-pass style guy. I think Duke's going to be really excited about playing in this bowl game. They've not been irrelevant. I mean, you had Daniel Jones and those teams go on those runs, but it seems like Mike Elko has Duke in a spot where they're able to recreate playing well each weekend, which is tough to do. Give me Duke in a close one. High-scoring game here. I think you're going to see both offenses be able to move the ball, even though Duke does have Mike Elko and does know what UCF's going to do, because Gus Malzahn never changed.
Well, Duke -3, over under 62.5. The key for me is Riley Leonard in this game, also leading the Duke in rushing yards. I mean, the kid does it all. Javon Calhoun's a good receiver. They're the top guy. I think Plumlee's not the best thrower of the football, as you said. I like Duke in this game, and I think I like Duke big.
Really?
Like Duke big. I'm going to take Central Florida. Now, I understand that they did not play their best football against Tulane. Tulane now playing in a New Year's Six bowl. And even more disappointing was the game against Navy. Central Florida lost that 17-14. That was kind of a tough game to watch for them. But I still think Central Florida is a great place for Gus Malzahn. I think he can have success there.
No doubt.
And I like them in this bowl game.
Moving to the Big 12 as well. I mean, you can see UCF and the trajectory that they're on. It's going to be interesting to see how they do in year one once they make that move. But yeah, give me the Blue Devils. Me and Blaine are going to ride with the Dukies.
I like it. AutoZone Liberty Bowl. This is Kansas versus Arkansas. This one's going to be played in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, KJ Jefferson coming back is a huge announcement for Arkansas. You look at him coming back, Michael Penix Jr. coming back for Washington. Obviously Caleb Williams coming back for USC. Drake May coming back for North Carolina. Barry Odom, now the head coach at UNLV, the former defensive coordinator at Arkansas. But I think, obviously Sam Pittman has a good feel on that program, a good pulse on that program. He's going to get the right guy in there. The Hogs, it was a triage tent on defense, starting with Catalan being done for the rest of the year. I mean, not even midway through the season. But I think that bolster from KJ coming back. I know Jalen Daniels, went out for Kansas for most of the end of the season. Bean came in there and did a pretty good job. I need to see the status of Daniels for this game. But I feel like Arkansas up front will be able to run the ball with Rocket Sanders, guys like Hazelwood on the outside for the big play down the field, and Knox at tight end. Blaine, what's the spread in this game?
The spread is -3 Arkansas, over under 69.
So they're expecting, no defense, and I don't see a way in which Kansas is going to be able to stop Arkansas. KJ Jefferson, all he does is extend plays by throwing human beings off of him, a la Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, is Rocket Sanders playing?
I know there was an update on whether he was going to play or not. I know he's kind of gone through some nicks and knacks, but I believe he is still playing.
Okay. I believe he is still playing. If Rocket Sanders plays in this game, give me Arkansas. I think this will be one of those games that's going to come down to whoever has the ball at the end of the game is going to win this game. Both defenses are below average. If anything, I like KJ Jefferson. I trust KJ Jefferson more. And if Rocket plays that running game, it's a lot easier to turn around and hand the ball off and go get 7 every play. I think Arkansas will stay on schedule when it comes to 3rd and 3s and get KJ in the run game. Give me Arkansas to cover the spread and the over.
a more interesting matchup than it would be in years past. Kansas, great
Yeah.
story this year, started 5-0, then lost 6 of their last 7. I think Arkansas lost 3 of their last 4. The final game against Missouri was particularly interesting because Missouri was fighting for bowl eligibility, which you always know you're going to get the best of a team whenever they're looking for that 6th win. I just think Arkansas at the end of the day is going to be too much. And with the news of KJ Jefferson deciding to come back for next season, I think they're going to look at this bowl game as an opportunity to springboard for next season. Exactly.
I do think, again, guys, we put out our bets on social media. You can follow us. Just go to @Crane Company on Twitter, Instagram. You'll be able to find where our bets for the day are when it comes down to how we are betting this game. I do think you get 2 turnovers on defense from Arkansas. I think they may score a defensive touchdown. I like the Hogs by a touchdown or more in this game. We always talk about, what's the best lines, who has the fastest payouts and things like that. It's DraftKings Sportsbook. That's the reason why they're a sponsor of this show. That's the reason why they're Booster Club certified. And they're one of 3 things that are Booster Club certified, and the only thing we can tell you about on air and in public. So you need to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Do it, unless you're flying a plane or driving. And in that case, if you got a co-pilot, let them take over for a second. And you can keep up with all the holiday hoops action. Because if you sign up on DraftKings with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, and you place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win. That's only $5. You're going to get $150 in free bets if they do. Yeah, they've got it like that. That's only at DraftKings Sportsbook, and it's only with our code BOOSTER. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. DraftKings, if you're going to draft like a king. If you're going to gamble on sports, gamble like a king, David.
Like a king.
You're a king.
You're a king.
Thank you. Hey, Blaine, you're also a king. Your thoughts on DraftKings?
Hey, falling in love with the NBA money lines and the over-unders. A little SGP, same game parlay. And you know who has the best lines for that? Right when I wake up, they're there, right? Even in my dreams, they're there. So right when it doesn't matter, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, right when 12:01 hits, guess what? The bets are there. Parlays, props. Hell, you could probably bet on anything. I don't know, something you can.
Yeah. There's a Quidditch match going on. I'll take everything, but you can take Hufflepuff to cover. So make sure you download the app and use our promo code BOOSTER.
Very interesting matchup here with a couple top quarterbacks. This is the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl.
Yes, sir.
With Oregon and North Carolina. And this one is obviously played in San Diego.
Yeah, when I look at this game, you obviously, nowadays, when you look at bowl games that aren't played for a national championship, you got to find out who's playing first, really, regardless of the team, unless it's a small group of 5 team that's playing in a big bowl game that they're excited about, or a team that's kind of coming, in a resurgence, kind of like we've seen with Kansas and some others this year. Josh Downs not playing for North Carolina is really going to hurt them. They've already been struggling offensively here at the end. You look at the last 3 games. I mean, hell, the defense was playing better than the offense. Who'd have thought you'd be saying that about this North Carolina team 7-8 games into the season after what we saw Drake May do, even when Josh Downs wasn't healthy at the beginning of the season. Bo Nix is going to play for Oregon. I know Oregon's had some guys hit the portal on defense, just had an offensive lineman hit the portal. But without Josh Downs, I don't think North Carolina is the same type of team offensively. I think Bo Nix is continuing to try and build his resume to have a chance to make it in the NFL, whether that's being drafted or having a legitimate chance if he gets picked up to make a team. I like Oregon in this game. I think Oregon puts at least 35 points up, and I think North Carolina doesn't get past the 35-point mark. Give me Oregon in this game.
Well, Vegas likes Oregon in this game big. The spread's at -14 for Oregon. That you could tell that Josh Downs is not playing. I mean, Drake May is North Carolina. That's all they have. I mean, he leads them in rushing as well. Who'd have thought that? And you don't have your number 1 go-to NFL receiver in Josh Downs. Bo Nix is coming back. He's focused on having fun. I like Oregon in this game. I like Oregon to cover in this game. And I do like the under. 72 is too much for me.
I tell you what.
72 over-under?
Yeah, and Drake May, he's the biggest thing in North Carolina since Marty Huggins almost beat Cam Brady for that senator spot.
Why wouldn't he take a lie detector test?
I don't know, where was he on?
I'm not going to Rainbow Land, and you can't make
I really enjoyed watching Oregon play this year. Their matchup against UCLA was one of my favorite games from this past season. A lot of the stuff they were doing, formation to the boundary, was really cool. I know they got drummed week 1 against Georgia, but hats off for even taking that game. It ended up being the losses to Washington and Oregon State that kind of did them in. I still wanted to see an Oregon Oregon-USC matchup, which we didn't get a chance to see. Down the stretch with North Carolina, with consecutive losses to Georgia Tech, NC State, and then Clemson. They weren't looking good. And it wasn't just that the offense was putting up all these points like we had seen this season, and then the defense was giving up a lot of points and then lost games. It was kind of the reverse. The offenses wasn't really performing, including Drake May. I think Drake May will come back next season and be one of the best quarterbacks in this country, possibly even win the Heisman Trophy. But for this bowl game, give me the Oregon Ducks.
I'm with you.
Last matchup, Texas Tech and Ole Miss in the Tax Act Texas Bowl.
Man, you got to like the over in this one. You look at who's playing for Ole Miss. I believe Jackson Dart is going to play. Quinshon Judkins is going to play, I believe, in the bowl game. Now, again, you never know when it comes down to kids and making decisions and what the coaches are going to go with. But when I look at this matchup with Coach McGuire, it was kind of sneaky what he did at Texas Tech. Beat Texas at home, won some games that he shouldn't. Really seems like he's a good fit out there in Lubbock. The fan base is obviously very drawn to him. When I look at this game and I look at the amount of points that are going to be scored, you know, you look at quarterbacks and you go through Jackson's ability to throw the ball down the field. He's got to do a better job of seeing linebackers and down safeties and protection. But Ole Miss, even though they kind of fell off a cliff at the end of the year when that schedule ramped up, they still have that three-headed running attack. With, you look at, now that Evans is gone, it's really a two-headed monster, but they do have some backups that can carry the load a little bit. It's that offensive line that has played well, even after losing their position coach in the spring, getting a new guy in. I know he's gone now, but the players are still playing. I like Ole Miss to break late in this game. I think it's going to be back and forth early. I don't think you're going to see as many points early as you do in the front end than you do in the back end, but I think Ole Miss has a big second half, and they win this game by 4 or more.
All right, we got 3.5 over under 69.5. So I do like the over. I think the difference in this game is going to be Quinshon Judkins. I mean, the kid's an absolute stud. Texas Tech has been playing well. I mean, their backup quarterback came in. Their starting quarterback got hurt. Well, his last game was against Oklahoma, threw for 400+ yards, a couple touchdowns, I believe 1 pick. I will always believe in the running game at the end of the day is the physicality that comes with that up front. Judkins is going to be one of the best backs these next couple of years. One of the best backs this year, but I'm pretty sure he's a true freshman.
Yeah, broke all the records.
Broke all the records. Jackson Dart in this game, you just can't lose this game. I don't think he has to go out and win this game, but I don't think you just don't lose it for Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm. I want to know which team's going to care more. That's the answer in a lot of these bowl games. And I think that the answer to that question could be Texas Tech in this case. And it's not just about momentum. Now, Texas Tech won their last 3 games.
Yep.
And Ole Miss lost, 4 of their last 5. But when you take a month off before bowl season, you can't just take into account momentum because that has been broken now for over 4 weeks. So that's what I find particularly interesting in a matchup like this is how many of these kids had an expectation possibly, especially with Ole Miss, to maybe make the college football playoff, especially when they started 6-0, 7-0, something like that. Was the end of that road, that slide, and then losing the Egg Bowl, is that sort of just like a momentum killer? I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and take Texas Tech in this one.
I talk about motivation. I think you can kind of derive different things, but I think if I had to guess or put my finger on kind of who cared more, I think this is actually going to be more even than maybe people think. You look at Texas Tech, obviously, and Coach McGuire early in his tenure there, they're going to be excited. They exceeded expectations, at least in my opinion. Maybe not in their opinion, but in my opinion, they did. You're getting rewarded. And then Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin came back. Mm-hmm. Lane Kiffin didn't leave. And you look at what happened in Mississippi State. And I know Ole Miss isn't Mississippi State, but it brings the team together. But having Lane Kiffin back, even though it was ugly and rocky there late when you talk about Auburn and all in that situation, and some of the fans wanting him gone anyway and losing the Egg Bowl, I think it may bring that team closer together. That team may come out and fight a little bit harder than what people think. And you were embarrassed the way you finished the year for Ole Miss. You had all this hype. You knew that the schedule was back heavy. That's when you were going to have to perform your best, and you fell off a cliff. So I think, especially the older guys, have a little bit of something to prove here at the end.
Love it.
All right. Well, if you have something to prove, go ahead and prove it. But before you do that, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out all the content. We got merch. Go to thedailywire.com. You can find it under DW Originals, and make sure you follow us on all social media. Hope you're having a great post-Christmas, in-between New Year's Eve type of day, and we'll catch you tomorrow with another bowl preview.